Hello, everyone. It's Yolanda here, and I'm back with another live chat. This is going to be more of a chat than a Q&A because y'all didn't leave me any questions. So, that's okay, though. I'm sure some questions will come up throughout this chat, but I do want to talk about something today, and it's something that I think many people, including myself, struggle with, and that is finding balance. So, minimalism is not just about getting rid of your stuff, it's also about focusing on the things that matter to you and what your priorities are. And one of the reasons why this chat is every 2 weeks instead of weekly, like we talked about on the last video, is because of balance and something that I need more of in my life. The past couple of months has been really kind of overwhelming for me. Um, Launching Black Minimalists, working 2 jobs, and then also trying to keep up with my social commitments, and being an introvert. That has all been really overwhelming for me. So I want to talk today about balance and why it's important and what happens when you think everything is important, because that's kind of like my struggle right now. I don't think everything is equally important, and that's something that I want to talk about too. The myth of balance being that you have to apply equal amounts of effort to every area of your life. I think in essence, balance is really applying the most amount of effort to the most important things and learning how to distribute your energy and your effort um, proportionately among the areas of your life. So I have not been a good minimalist for the past couple of months in this particular area of my life because I've been doing sort of everything. Like every hour of my day has been accommodated, not accommodated, accounted for. So, like I said, I have 2 jobs, Black minimalists, and social commitments, and I'm an introvert. So, for me, I thrive best when I have time for myself, and I haven't had a lot of time for myself over the past 2 months working on all of these projects. Um, Intellectually, I know that I can't do everything, but there's also a part of me that thinks I can do everything, even if only for a short period of time. And that's kind of where I'm at because, like, the 2 jobs that I have, I know they are going, hey, I think that's for I. Um, the 2 jobs that I have are going to end in the month of June. So I just told myself, I could sacrifice for these 2 months and do everything sort of um, until the end date for these jobs. Um, but reasonably, if it weren't for knowing that these things are going to end in a short period of time or knowing that these things are temporary, reasonably, I would have to back off. And under different circumstances, I definitely would have not took on the second job, the second project that I'm working on. I would have backed out from it, but there's a reason, a long-term reason, a long-term goal that I'm trying to reach, which is why I'm still going to do it, and I'm going to sacrifice, and I'm going to suffer for a few more weeks in trying to do everything. But for those of you also out there, if you are struggling with balance, please comment in the comment sections and tell me what's going on with you. What are your challenges in balancing your life? Also, there's a great book that I read back in February before my life got crazy, but it's called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. It's a great book, and it's called Essentialism, the Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And he basically talks about how if we want to be successful, we have to prioritize. Um, and we have to only do the most important things. And we shouldn't have a long list of things that are most important. It should really only be, a few things that we value the most in our lives. So it's a great book. Definitely read it. I think essentialism and minimalism go hand in hand because he talks about basically in order to focus on the most important things, you have to eliminate all the excess. So I think if you're a minimalist, you should also strive to be an essentialist. A lot of the examples in the book are like business related and like work related, but I think you can definitely apply them to your personal life. And I think another book to read, I guess, on the spiritual side of things would be The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. He basically talks about the same thing, but from a spiritual level, and really hits on why it's important to be present in the moment and to make sure you're focusing your time and energy um, on the things that matter to your soul, to your spirit. Let's see. I got a question, I think, from Crystal. She has a comment. She says, I'm definitely having an interesting time with balancing my life, being a mom, taking care of my home, and feeding my dreams. It's a lot and overwhelming at times. Yeah, definitely. I can imagine being a mom in and of itself is definitely challenging in balancing life. And we just posted an article by Melissa from the Feel Free Club about 5 ways that minimalism saves the modern mom. So if you have a chance, please go check that out, Crystal, and see if she has some tips for you also. Being a mom and, wanting to go after your dreams. I definitely think it's something that's universal, or not universal necessarily, but something that particularly is challenging for our generation. Um, because we have access to a lot of things that our parents have not had. We have a lot more opportunities. And just even with, the advent of technology, we've been able to do a lot more things than our parents were able to do. So I think the challenge of trying to balance our lives um, is something that is an important issue for people our age and probably people younger too. You just have access to so many things. How do you choose? And do you want to choose? And can we do it all, or should we want to do it all? I don't have the answer to these questions. As I've talked about, I'm still trying to find my balance, but I think it's worth having the conversations about it. So I did think about some some ways to help us and myself sort of find more balance. And I think one of the most important, and something that Greg McKeown talks about in his book also, is just making the time in our day-to-day lives to set aside time to think about these things, whether or school or before bed or whatever, making that time. And it's really self-care, really, but making that time and giving yourself that space to sort of plan out what it is you're trying to achieve and what are the things that you can do on a day-to-day basis to achieve those things. I feel like we don't give ourselves enough time and space to do that. I know that that's, again, being a struggle for me because these past 2 months, every portion of my day has been mapped out Um, and I really have not had much time for myself. I finally took some time this weekend after doing a 2 hour interview on minimalism, um, to just do nothing really and just be with myself and try to catch my breath. Um, what is Crystal? Crystal, you up here commenting, girl? She said there's so much opportunity. I'm so able. So yes, that makes it more interesting to select a path, feed it, and be a great mom and have self-care. My goodness. Yeah, I feel you. But we do have to choose. I mean, that's essentially what minimalism is about. I don't necessarily believe in that it's necessary to do it all. I think um, you should just do the things that serve you the most. And minimalism is about choice ultimately. Even when you're just decluttering your closet, you're making choices, and our day is filled with millions of choices that we make consciously and subconsciously. And every time we make a choice, we're basically choosing. We're choosing with our values. We're choosing what's important to us. And I think getting to a place where you are successful at prioritizing your life and feel balance, it takes practice. Um, it's not going to happen overnight, and you're going to have periods of time where life feels overwhelming, and you're going to have times when you feel in control of it. I hope, as we grow in our journeys, that we have more times where we feel imbalance and in alignment, and less times where we feel overwhelmed. But even if you get to a point in your life where you do feel overwhelmed, it's not that you're failing. It's just an opportunity for growth. So yeah, so the first tip is make time and space for yourself to take care of yourself, to think about the things that matter to you, and to prioritize your day-to-day life, but also your overall life. What are the goals that you ultimately want to achieve? The best way to achieve a goal is to break it down to its most simple thing. And that simple thing is what you do, every day on a daily basis. That's what gets you to the long-term goal. So it's really important to make time for yourself on a daily basis to think about those things. Um, Another tip I would give is to know when to say no and when to say yes. Um, I like saying no usually. um, but I, socially wise, I made a commitment this year to say yes more often to social commitments, because I know that I'm relocating soon, very soon in the near future, and I won't be able to spend as much time with the people in my life, friends and family. So one of the things that I wouldn't normally do is be as social as I am, because I am an introvert, but I'm just sort of forcing myself, not forcing, but being a little extra, giving myself a little extra force to take these opportunities to spend time with the people that I love and care about. So I'm saying yes to social commitments. And it's also the reason why I said yes to, taking on this second job, because I know the long-term benefits of it are going to play out. But saying no is powerful. And over the past few years, as I've been on my minimalist journey, I have learned to say no a lot more and not be afraid of offending people or not pleasing people. I think no is just it's a powerful word. And as it said, it's a complete sentence, N-O. And again, knowing when to say no to things and knowing when to say yes, it comes with practice. Um, and it comes with knowing what your values are and living in alignment with your values. Um, But I will say this, and this is because it applies to my own personal situation, and I'm still trying to rationalize my current life. But I think that yes, you need to know when to say yes and when to say no, but you also have to know when you need to sacrifice a little bit and stretch yourself a little bit and push yourself because it's going to get you to the next level. But again, I think it all comes with time and knowing yourself, knowing what your goals are, knowing your values. I feel comfortable stretching myself, even though I know I'm a little overwhelmed. I feel comfortable stretching myself um, because I know that it's going to have a greater impact um, on me in the long term. And Maya Good, aka Quotidian Light, she just commented. She said, "Yep, so true." I want to give a shout out to Maya. I was actually just watching her latest vlog on YouTube when she was showing everything that she packed. Maya is currently hitchhiking in the southeastern portion of the U.S. I think she's going from Florida to North Carolina and then back to her hometown in New Orleans. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Maya. But I'm just like so amazed and in awe of her doing this. And I'm so honored that I get to follow her and watch her and that she shares this with us and she's really, sharing vulnerabilities and truths and challenges, but also the triumphs of her journey. So if you have not heard about Maya, please go check her out on YouTube. Her channel is Quotidian Light. Um, and y'all, if you, so somebody, I think it was Franco, he last time on the chat, he asked about, he travels on the weekends a lot. He wanted to know, how he could travel more lightly and just take a backpack. Go look at her video because that woman has 100 things in her backpack. Like, I'm not even finished the video yet. And I want to know how she fits all those things in there. um, yeah, she has a lot in that backpack. How much does it weigh? I don't know if you mentioned that in the video, Maya, but how much does your backpack weigh? If you know. Clarence, I will scroll up to see. I may have missed it. 33 pounds, child. Her backpack weighs 33 pounds, but she has a lot of stuff in there that she needs. Mm-mm. I didn't see the other comment, Franco. Oh, you got get rid of 30 shirts. Wow, I am proud of you. Proud of you. And still working on my no skills. Really? You don't strike me the type of person that can't say no. But you're also like a very people person, very social. So I can see where you might have trouble saying no. But yeah, congratulations. 30 shirts, that's a lot. So how many do you still have left? Just joking. I'm not gonna ride you. Congratulations on getting rid of 30 shirts. And where's Travis at? He said he had 100 t-shirts the last time. Where do you go for the vid? You're talking about Maya's video? It's on YouTube. I don't know. Do you have a Facebook page, Maya? Would it be on there also? You're getting closer though. You're getting closer. It's her video is definitely on YouTube. It's called Minimalist Journey. Everything I live with fits in this bag, and she just posted it today. And her name is Quotidian Light. Let me write it in the comments so you can search it. That's her YouTube channel name. What other questions do you guys have? Like what are you struggling with in your minimalist journey or just your life journey in general? I'm scrolling through the comments to see if I missed anything. If y'all not gonna ask me questions, I'm gonna be asking y'all some questions. Maya says, I'm not struggling, but I'm noticing how minimalism is moving far beyond the material. Definitely. I think it's a spiritual journey. Really. That's what it is. Um, you just basically stripping away. For me, I describe it as sort of stripping away the layers and the artifice and getting back to my authentic self, sort of. That's what I see minimalism as. It's definitely spiritual for me. The stuff was just really step one of this journey. And now I'm dealing with the spiritual stuff, which is much more challenging than getting rid of the stuff, but also much more rewarding. But I think Clarence, okay, so Clarence Franco, sorry guys. I was introduced to Clarence as Franco in college, so forgive me if I keep saying both names. Um, he says, I feel like I'm still in the what all does minimalism encompass stage because my mind is still on the material. And I would say you're right where you need to be because in the beginning of the journey, it is focused on the material things. And even though it's physical stuff, I think the process of removing that stuff and seeing the space and getting rid of the clutter is it's also a spiritual thing as well. Like it's gonna make you feel good. Like, did you feel good when you got rid of those dirty shirts? Like, did you feel accomplished? Like, getting rid of the stuff is an important part of the journey, even if it is the first step. It's very important for the next stages. Yeah, yeah. Like for me, like whenever I feel overwhelmed, and it's gonna come up soon, but whenever I feel like overwhelmed and when I feel like I don't have balance, what I do is get rid of stuff. And that's what sort of started me on this journey 4 or 5 years ago, is because I felt stuck in my current life, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna get rid of everything and start over again. And that's what started me on this minimalist journey before I even knew what the word minimalism meant. Um, Farai says, for me, once I started with my clothes, it bled into my finances, spiritual life in general. Yep, absolutely. Once you like really start getting on this journey, you can't just stop at the stuff because you're going to be looking at every area of your life and wondering how you can simplify it, how you can make it work towards your goals. So the stuff leads you to all those other areas. And it's a lifestyle, it's your life. So I feel like it can't help but to bleed into all those other areas for the better. Maya says, I look at it like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Once you get rid of the stuff, you will start to focus on higher order parts of life. Yep, definitely agree with that. It's definitely sort of a pyramid. Did you ever feel like people in your life were clutter and you had to cut them? Mm, mm, yes. I wouldn't say cut them, but I definitely am very particular about who I spend my time with. Um, but yeah, that's another part of minimalism. Everybody ain't meant to go on this journey with you through life, and some people may be holding you back or negatively influencing you, and you may not even know it. So that's also a part of it too, is prioritizing your relationships. And for the people that you want in your life, making sure that you're working on that relationship and you're actively building it. And then, depending on the type of person you are, you have to, for the people that you might want to remove from your life, you may feel like you want to have a conversation with them face to face, or you may just start distancing yourself from them. But yeah, you'll figure out, who's meant to be on this journey with you and who's not. What else? Give me some more questions, or I'm gonna go to my questions. Clarence, I have a question for you. Are you talking about minimalizing or simplifying, whatever you call it? Are you talking about this like with your other friends and people in your life, family? Or a more general question, do you ever come across other minimalists like outside of blogs? Um So to my question, he said, nah. And I laughed because I have never really, like, not until recently, I've never really talked about it with my friends or family. If I had a blog and I would write about it, they could go read my blog, and I think that they did. But, like, I've never really, like I said, until recently, had, like, an actual conversation about them with my family or friends. I'm not sure why, though, but maybe I'll investigate that some more. But I don't know. I just don't feel like if it comes up in conversation, I'll talk about it. But I don't know. I'm not a missionary out here. Convert people. I just live and let other people live. People come to me and ask about it. I definitely talk about it. And they probably was like, yeah, it's definitely jokes. Definitely jokes. Yeah, people definitely got jokes, you know, and like, I think other people have mentioned this, but like not in this particular conversation, but like especially with other black folks, like they tend to think, I think Farai mentioned this in her interview, they tend to look at minimalism as white people stuff. Like it's something that white people do. Um, and white people have popularized it, but minimalism is really a universal practice. Um, and also some people think that we're glorifying poverty or we're hippies or something like that. Like people definitely got jokes, but as I explained in my interview, because that was actually a question that came up about glorifying poverty, like on paper, I could be considered poor, but because I only keep the things in my life that matter the most, like I feel rich. And because I'm able to have these experiences and connect with these people through minimalism, like I personally feel rich. It's definitely a mindset. And I don't think it's a glorification of poverty. I think it's just realizing what you need and what you don't need and living with those things. Um, I do recognize that there are people who can't afford certain things and that's why they have to live that way. Definitely understand that. But I think no matter your socioeconomic status, we could all live more simply. And if we stop glorifying stuff, um, poverty may not be as stigmatized as it is. Or maybe the definition of poverty or how we view poverty would change. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Yep, you can. See, you out there spreading the good word, spreading the gospel. Clarence said one of his friends has spoken about going minimalist. And another friend of Kenya, one of our co-founders, after watching the last live chat, she decided to go minimalist too. So I know there is power in sharing. All right, let me just go back up. Clarence asks, do you ever come across other minimalists like outside of blogs? Not really. I mean, one thing that surprised me, and I shouldn't have been too surprised, but realizing that my friend Travis is actually a minimalist, like, I should have picked up on it, but, he never uses the term. I'm sure there are many people who are minimalists in my life that I don't know that they're minimalists, just because they don't use a term or they have a different name for it or they don't even know what minimalism is. But I don't think I've ever met someone, out and about who identified as a minimalist. I'll say that. Farai asks, what are your hopes for Black folks to get out of minimalism? Liberation. That's what it's about. Like, one of the things that came up in this interview that I did, and when it's released, I'll definitely share that with you guys, but the journalist was talking about how the difference between us, Black minimalists as a group, and the other minimalists, the white minimalists basically, is that our goals seem more related to a social movement. And I think that's definitely the essence of why we created Black Minimalists. It's really about our liberation, both personally and as a community. And that liberation, minimalism is a tool that can help us with that liberation, whether it's economically, politically, socially, spiritually, educationally. I think minimalism is a tool that can really help us divest from this American nightmare. It's not a dream for sure. But like, I talked about this a lot on Saturday, but like capitalism is really, it's sort of the root of many of the ills in not only American society, but the world as a whole. And this relentless drive for profit and exploiting people's labors, their humanity, and making us believe that all these things, making us believe that we need all these things when we don't really, and we're really just financing the governments and the 1%. We're financing their lives. And I definitely want to have just like one conversation about just capitalism and oppression and all that. It's just a heavy topic that it's overwhelming to think about diving deep into it. But yeah, the goal of this community and for Black folks in general is to use minimalism to liberate ourselves. Clarence asks, is there any particular aspect of your life that you feel minimalism has been most beneficial to, i.e., finances, relationships, peace of mind, etc.? Mm. I feel like um, self care, like peace of mind going along with self care, sort of, and finances have been, well, spirituality, I guess, self care, and finances have really, I guess, been the most beneficial thing that minimalism has benefited. What am I saying? But they're all sort of related. Like going on this minimalist journey made me realize that I wasn't living the life that I wanted. I wasn't being authentic to myself. And it also made me realize that if I wanted to live the life that I wanted to live, I had to get my finances in order. So they all sort of go together, but it has definitely affected those things the most. Like I said, even though on paper I might be poor, I'm not poor. I'm not really poor. Um, and I've been able to save like so much money over the past year and pay off debt just because, I simplified my life, and I'm doing that on a very small um, salary. Like I said, technically I'm not, I am considered poor in that income bracket, but I'm at the higher end of the poor income bracket. So yeah. Any other questions? You got some good questions though, Franco. What about other people in the comments who have been on this journey for, a longer period of time? What would be your answer to that question? What aspect of your life do you think minimalism has benefited most? Answer in the comments, and I'll comment on your comment. Maya asks, where do you see yourself in a year? In Mexico. That's where I'm planning to relocate in the fall. Um, and really, in Mexico, I want to, will be, have been, minimalists will have, black minimalists will have been in existence for a year. So really, um, hoping that we have grown this platform and really seeing how we can better serve our community going forward. Yeah, we'll talk about that at our next meeting for I. Yeah. Um, but yeah, really just, growing this community and hopefully finding better ways to serve the community, and really push this movement forward. That's where I see myself in a year. Farai shared that minimalism stopped her from wasting her damn money on clothes I don't need. I think a lot of people can relate to that, definitely. Definitely just stop wasting money in general. Like I talked about it last time, this, even going into Dollar Tree is like the devil, man. Like just because it's a dollar don't mean you need it, and it's probably crap anyway. And I'm like, I used to be like a very frugal person when I was younger. Um, and then when I got to college, getting that student loan refund and stuff like that, just lost my mind. Made a lot of poor financial decisions. Um, so really trying to come back from that has been a challenge, but like I said, it's also been rewarding, and just investing in myself, prioritizing my savings, um, and really tracking, cent by cent what I'm spending really helped me in the financial department. And I think for a lot of people, especially Black people, um, money is a sensitive issue, like within our families and our communities, especially if you come in from a poor socioeconomic background. There's always this like fear of not having enough money, um, not being able to pay all your bills, or not having any savings, or having an emergency and not having the money. Like, definitely, there was issues I had to work through, and sort of conquer my financial issues, and why I had this relationship to money that was not healthy. I'm gonna turn on the light. I'll be right back, guys. Question. So one question I was asked in my interview at the end is, what is the one thing that I can't live without? And I feel like realistically, you can live without, yeah, I feel like you can live without anything, because everything is sort of replaceable except for people. But the things that I mentioned that not that I can't live without them, but I don't want to live without them, are like my laptop and my phone. I know it's like cliche, like, but it's really it's really what helps me, connect to a lot of people. Like, I met so many people over the past couple of years talking about minimal online, and met those people not only online but in person, like form relationships with people. Like, it's how I learn about, people, family and friends that are far away. Like, I guess it's more the Wi-Fi or the internet than it is per se the device that you access them on. They are important, but I do believe that I could live without them if I had to, but I don't want to. I do everything online. So I'm posing that question to you guys. What is the one thing that you cannot live without? Maya said my computer, I needed to make money. Yeah, that too. My second job is online. Like, it's completely remote. I don't ever see a person or talk to a person at all. I just go on and do my work and collect my check. She said, and I need money to eat. Yeah, I feel like money's an important thing. Like, I always ask myself, like, if my house is on fire, what are the things I'm gonna grab? I'm gonna grab my purse, my laptop, and my phone, and that's it. Also, I shared Maya's latest video in the comment section. What are the things, come on, other people on here, what are the things that you, like the one thing you can't live without, or the one or few things you would grab if your house was on fire? She said her phone. Yeah, I mean, really, a phone is, don't even need the laptop, really. All I really need is a phone because I can do everything that I do on the laptop on my phone. So I agree with that. I can minimize my minimalist already. What else? Who else I should say? My PC, phone, important docs, clothes. Clarence, your house is on fire. Are you gonna have time to gather up clothes? Are your documents all in one place? I thought about like maybe putting like, birth certificate, social security card, all those things like in one small my eyes laughing too, like in one small place that could be easily reachable. But I feel like you can replace those things. Like you have to pay to replace them, but you can get those important documents back. He said, I didn't say the whole wardrobe out loud. Yeah, if you had, and that's a good thing too for Clarence. He says he has, important docs in his wallet and he has a little box. So I think it's important because, we like to hold on to paper too. Like paper is one of those insidious things that clutter up. And like a couple times a year, I like to go through all my mail and stuff and like shred a bunch of stuff. Um, but it's definitely, oh, really? You carry that around? I'm always afraid like I'm gonna lose my purse or something, or I don't know. Clarence says he keeps his social security card and birth certificate on him. But yeah, it's important to go through your papers and stuff too and narrow it down to the most important ones and shred the rest. Um, Farai says she's in Kansas. Because of tornadoes, we make go bags with one change of clothes, water, certified copies of important papers, and food. That's it. That's something that's important to have, is a go bag. No matter if you're in Kansas or not. Because you never know what could happen. I mean, we have what? Hurricanes here. Occasionally we get a tornado. But we could have an earthquake, or somebody could just break into your house, or your house could be on fire and you need to roll out. That's a really good thing, I think, for minimalists to have, as a go bag. Are we prepared? Do you guys, this is a little off subject, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. Um, oh, we didn't go on. Oh no, we got 10 more minutes. Um, oh, my computer's about to die. Hold on. But oh yeah, so okay, back to what I was saying. If we get to that point where it's like an emergency, not the end of the world, but close to the end of the world, do you guys feel like prepared to like pack up and go wherever you need to go? I don't. I need a go bag. Like I feel like I guess what are they called? Preppers, people that prepare for the end of the world. I don't know if what I'm really talking about is preppers because they prepare to go underground, I guess. Um, but if you have to like pack up and leave, and say you can't drive your car, or you have to walk or hike or traverse, multiple climates, and you have to take, just the essentials. Do you guys feel prepared to do that? Maya says she's prepared. I bet she got her bag ready to go. Farai says we can write a post about the perfect go bag. Yep, and you're in charge of it. Yeah, doomsday preppers or whatever. Yeah, for the end of the world as we know it. He said, "If the world's gonna end, where are you going?" I mean, not like the very end of the world, but like you've seen those movies where like, or like, let's get real. Let's say our water source dries up on the East Coast and we need to relocate, or some like natural disaster destroys like a lot of our current um, landscape, our infrastructure. It's not the end of the world, but it's the end of the world as we know it. Like, are you prepared for the next phase of life? Do you feel like you can survive? Yes, like some Mad Max type stuff. Basically, I thinking about Octavia Butler's series, Parable of the Talents, Parable of the Sower, too. Come to Kansas, it's in the middle. But you got tornadoes. Franco said he's definitely not prepared and he's not going to get prepared either. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do if part of the East Coast falls off into the water and you got to go? Maya said die. Is that what you're prepared to do? You just going to die? Give up? That's true. Maya said there's nothing wrong with going with the flow. But for when I think about going with the flow, he said hitch a ride with someone who is prepared. Well, Maya can definitely teach you some things about hitching rides for sure, if it comes down to that. But what if that person only has enough supplies and things for themselves? But I say you're not talking about flowing into the Hudson. No, when I mean go with the flow, I mean I'm gonna pick up my bag and I'm gonna go and adapt to whatever the new situation is. That's what I mean by going with the flow, not as she said, just going into the sea and saying bye. Claire said that's why he knows so many people. I guess make strengthen that network. Make sure you don't cut those people out of your life. Maya mentioned that preppers actually talk about how to protect themselves from people who aren't ready. Be prepared to get shot by many, if not most. That's a good thing though, because if you have prepped and someone comes along who's not prepared at all, that person is going to be holding you back and might jeopardize your life. So that's a good point. I think a go bag is definitely something that I want to explore more and create. Franco is crazy. All right, so we got 5 minutes. Any last questions or comments? I really do enjoy these conversations. So in the future, we are going to continue to do these bi-weekly. So we'll be back June 5th, I think. But on the next chat, we are going to have some more people from the Black Minimalist team on here. So it's not just me talking all the time. Because as I said, I am an introvert, and this sometimes it's draining for me to be talking all the time. Franco said people's gonna see his size and think he's useful. He's gonna barter for he's gonna barter labor for ration. I mean, get your plan together. Get that plan together. You're working on it, formulating a plan. Maya said, "Sorry, I won't be much help. I'll just be meditating on a mountain, working on my last effort at enlightenment." Yep. Farai said she just found this internet black home of black doomsday preppers. Yeah, reach out to them. Get them to write an article for us about how we should be prepping for this, because it's gonna come. Like, we're degrading our environment. Um, there's war, constantly wars going on. Like, this doomsday is coming sooner than we think. Yeah, I think we are gonna, not every Monday, Clarence, every other Monday. We're gonna do a bi-weekly. But I think 7:30 is a pretty good time. Yes, definitely. I I'm probably the closest one to you out of all of our team, but well, Anika's in New York. But yes, invite us and we will come. Maya shares that most doomsday preppers aren't actually minimalists, but they have knowledge that should be shared. I agree. And just like, with minimalist philosophy in general, take what you can use and discard the rest. So I'm definitely sure that there's information that they can share that will be helpful to us. Yes. Add us into your schedule. I haven't been up to UD in a while actually. So yeah, I'm definitely will come. I definitely will come if you invite me. Any last questions before we wrap this up? Thank you all who joined me. Thank you for your questions and your comments. It's really fun doing this, and I think we'll have more fun too when we get some more people on here with me. I think the conversation will definitely get more interesting, and we may be able to go for more than an hour. But I don't know. I don't want to take up all you guys' time either. Yeah. So if there aren't any more questions or comments, We will see you again in 2 weeks on June 5th at 7:30. Peace and have a good night.